What's up, ladies and gents? Pakulski coming at you from the Mi40 gym with some off-season strategies and tactics for maximizing muscle gain. So we do a lot of teaching on training. So today I'm just going to focus on how to optimize your off-season with respect to nutrition, particularly on off days. So I'm going to start with training days, how to get the most calories, what types of calories you should be doing, you should be choosing. So, you know, if you are someone who's earned an off-season, and what that means is, by earning an off-season means you've probably taken yourself under 10% body fat. And this could be any time in your cyclical approach to training and nutrition. So if you're following the Incredible Bulk, you've gone through a good, strong cutting phase that's taking you under 10% body fat. Now you're into your growth phase or your off-season. The best way to get a higher amount of calories, the greatest amount of calories possible, as you know, I always suggest is single ingredient foods. So what does that mean? So eating as many natural foods as you can. So trying to avoid things that may be pro-inflammatory. So there's this huge debate on the internet now, if it fits your macros versus like eating whole foods. I'm not against having cheat meals, junk food from time to time, but if you're gonna make it a staple in your nutrition plan, you're asking for a problem. So if you're not aware of the impact of inflammation on your physique enhancement, on your brain, on literally everything, your joints, your ability to recover, your cortisol levels, your body composition. If you're not aware of those things, I suggest you start doing some research for all you if it fits your macros people out there. And I'm not hating on what you guys do, because trust me, I want to eat Pop-Tarts too, but if you make that a staple in your diet, you absolutely will start increasing systemic inflammation in your body, which has a whole negative cascade of things that are going to go wrong. And for those people out there who are perhaps teaching if it fits your macros, pay attention to who they are. They're very genetically blessed athletes. They eat whatever they want and they still look awesome. Their body deals with inflammation really, really effectively, and you may not be as genetically blessed as them, and neither am I. So paying attention to things that affect your nutrition, affect your digestion is really, really important. So I stick with off-season, I'm sticking with a lot of sweet potatoes, a lot of white rice, brown rice. I use brown rice flour to make pancakes. I use coconut flour to make pancakes. I'm sticking with a lot of red meat, egg whites. I don't do a lot of chicken because it doesn't sit well with me, but trying to just eat large amounts of whole foods. And really, it gets to the point where I just try to eat as much whole food as I possibly can, so that I don't have a desire to eat junk food. Trust me, if you're filling your belly on good food, don't be afraid to eat like a big bowl of oatmeal, a big bowl of rice after a workout. That's okay, that stuff is great for you. When you start putting on fat is when you start going, oh, I didn't eat enough today, so at the end of the day I'm gonna eat a bunch of junk to compensate for it. And trust me, I'm just as guilty as anybody. When I started running my own businesses, your day goes by, you wake up in the morning, you have a coffee or a tea, you drink a liter of water, you get off to work, and before you know it, it's 3 p.m., you haven't eaten anything, so all of a sudden you start compensating. By 7 p.m., you're like, damn, I've only had one meal, and now you start eating this huge meal, and you end up adding body fat because you're eating crappy inflammatory foods. So trust me, pay attention, don't be afraid. I know a lot of people are afraid of carbohydrates. Don't be, your body uses them really well, provided you're training hard in the gym. Even on non-training days, you don't need to go no carbohydrate, even low carbohydrate in your off season. Higher carbohydrates are gonna do a better job of modulating and regulating your cortisol levels. So we wanna make sure you're eating a good amount of healthy carbohydrates. Keep your blood sugar stable, but not too depleted. So typically the way I'll try to eat is I want my blood sugar to come down at a few times throughout the day, but for the most part, I try to keep it pretty stable and elevated. There may be 2 to 3 times, probably 2 right now for me, times a day, where I intentionally go a little bit longer between meals. Like I go up to 3.5 to 4 hours, so I actually feel my blood sugar start to come down. So I know my body becomes efficient at using the carbs that I'm eating all the time, but when that blood sugar starts to dip, my body has to start using fat for fuel as well. So your body actually becomes more metabolically efficient, more metabolically flexible at using both types of fuel, rather than just being used to sustaining itself on carbohydrate. And obviously the detriment of being used to sustaining yourself on carbohydrate is when you no longer have carbohydrate, your body will start shifting to fat, but when there's no carbohydrate and your body's used to using carbohydrate, it'll start burning muscle. So we don't only want our body to be used to carbohydrate all the time. We want our body to start using fat stores. Huge important thought. So things I do in the off season, some strategies I employ in the off season to maximize calories. I use flour. I use brown rice flour, white rice flour, oatmeal, almond flour, oat bran, like oatmeal flour. All those things are really, really dense concentrated calories that are single ingredients. Just going to be a little bit faster for you to digest. So something to think about. Rather than eating white rice, maybe I'll have puffed rice, which is dehydrated. It allows me to eat greater amount of calories, less water consumption. So typically, if I'm eating some crazy amount of, if I need 200 grams of carbs from white rice, it's like a massive bowl, and maybe you don't want to eat that much. Maybe your stomach can't handle it. So adding in things that are a little more dense, maybe we'll add some maple syrup, maybe we'll add some flours to it, like some tapioca flours or things like that, to the oatmeal or to the rice, and it makes it more calorically dense. Think about it. It makes a big difference. The other thing that's really important that most people neglect is try to support your digestion with enzymes, with perhaps some apple cider vinegar before you eat. All through my entire prep, I did that every single meal. I did 15 to 30 mLs of apple cider vinegar, literally before every single meal. It got to the point before the Olympia where it was like a treat for me, because it was like the only flavor you're getting, right? That and sea salt are my treats for the day. So it sounds a little bit weird and neurotic, but it's the truth. You actually learn to appreciate the taste after a while. It really helps with the digestion, particularly for those people who maybe go meal to meal and aren't hungry. And a lot of you go through that. You wake up in the morning, I'm not really hungry. Well, typically, maybe your body isn't breaking down what you're eating. Maybe your body's a little acidic. So those are really important thoughts and considerations. Optimize your digestion. Make sure you're taking probiotics first thing in the morning, before bed. Take HCl with meals. Take digestive enzymes with meals. Apple cider vinegar before every meal. I like to take glutamine on an empty stomach, especially. So first thing in the morning and pre-workout are my two favorite times. And I take a lot pre-workout. For me, it's sometimes up to 30 and 40 grams pre-workout, which may be overkill, but I'd rather have too much than not enough glutamine. So things to think about. Hopefully that helps you guys. As far as optimizing digestion, there's a lot we can do, or mostly it's things we can avoid that will allow us to be more hungry, not necessarily feel as bloated, allow us to get more calories in a day. Anything that's going to be pro-inflammatory, just avoid it. Am I against gluten? No. But if it's going to inflame me or bloat me, then I don't want to eat it. Is it going to kill me? No, of course it's not going to kill me. I'm not celiac, but do I avoid it 95 to 99% of the time? Yes. And like I say, it's not because I think it's a bad thing or you're a bad person if you eat gluten. I really just think if it's going to inflame me or bloat me even a little bit to prevent me from being able to eat again 2 to 3 hours later, I'm not going to do it. So same thing with me and dairy. I don't eat a lot of dairy for the same reason. If I get any bloating, it's going to interfere with my body's ability to use those nutrients, and it's going to interfere with my body, my ability to consume those nutrients again 2 to 3 hours later. So there's some off-season strategies for you guys to add to your repertoire, as well as kicking ass in the gym and hitting your hardcore Mi40 workouts. Best of luck. Keep working hard. Send all your questions in to us on the Mi40 Nation site and on social media. Ben Pakulski out.